Hello, everybody. Welcome to our second Zoomcast interview. Welcome to your casita here at Bella Entrepreneurs. Thank you for joining us. My name is Rocio Flores. I'm the founder of Bella. For those of you that don't know what Bella is, it stands for Brillantes Emprendedoras Latinas de Los Angeles, also known as Bella or Bella Entrepreneurs. And I founded this initiative, this project. Really, the purpose is to elevate the Latina entrepreneurial voice, particularly with an emphasis in highlighting the stories and the journey of Latinas in South LA, on the East Side, and East LA, and to build up that community of support and to elevate the voice. So, thank you for joining us. I'm so excited here to have Ana Laura, who is here to share with us about her business, Afroanansi and Afro Waistbeads. And so she's here to share with us a little bit about her journey, a little bit about who she is. So welcome, Ana Laura. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, I feel like doing a little la 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 excitement. Rocio, thank you so much for this opportunity. I mean, not only to highlight our business and our journey, but also to create a space where we can share, we can network. I was mentioning to you before we started that this journey of being a business owner can be very isolating, especially during a pandemic, but in general, it could be very isolating. So it's really nice to feel the love of la comunidad and be part of a space where you can share your journey or your ups and your downs. So I'm excited. Thank you. Muchas gracias for having us. We're really excited. So it's Afroanansi and Afrobeads _ Waistbeads. So we'll talk a little bit more about how you can contact us.
Also, Ana, thank you. Well, let's dive right in and get started. So how about you just share a little bit about who you are and a little bit about your businesses and what are the products or services that you offer?
Sure. Well, I'll start with who I am, right? I am Ana Laura Villagrana. I am a daughter, a sister, a prima, a tia, a wife, a mom, a social worker, and then at the end, I am a business owner as of just a few months ago. My journey, so I was born and raised in South Central Los Angeles, in el sur centro de Los Angeles, during a very difficult times in Los Angeles. The gang violence rates were really high, crack pandemic at its peak. Growing up in South Central to parents who immigrated from Mexico in the late 70s, from Jalisco, Mexico. It has been a journey just to be where I'm at now, being an alumni from LUSD and just living the life of South Central, and as a also and I'll get to it a little bit into that, but also growing up in a single mother household, that was also has definitely shaped me to be this I feel like the leader sometimes, in general. I mean, that's what people call me, la organizadora, the one who connects. And I think that could be my social work skills, but also, the ones that I was born with. So yes, like I said, I was raised in a single parent household. My mother worked as a supervisor for sweatshops in Los Angeles. And I was an only child up until I was 6 years old. And then my baby and only sister, named Rocio, with an S, was born. Yes, woohoo to the Rocios. And yeah, she was, I think, my first love too, because I love my sister. I always teased her how she came home on Halloween, actually, to the house. And she was very hairy, and I always and I tell my mom, I tell the story of, like, I was confused. I didn't know if it was my sister or a little monkey because she was so hairy. But she is beautiful and also shares a lot of the traits that I share. And I have one sister. I had a tough, I think, childhood, just because my parents separated soon after my sister was born, but also because I had to navigate being in different elementary schools. So I went to like 4 or 5 different elementary schools because we moved a lot.
Yeah.
And then I ended up in a school called Nevin, an elementary school, and that's where I finished 5th and 6th grade. Back then it was 6th grade. And I went to Carver Middle School. So for those who are familiar with South Central, I went to Carver, go Cougars. And then I transitioned to Jefferson High School, which actually was like 2 blocks away from my house.
Oh,
Um, when I was 16, I did an intercultural exchange program. So I was part of a class that was very lucky. They had a speaker come to talk to I think it was all the students at Jeff, and they had us in the auditorium, and this amazing, like, elegant lady wearing black. I still remember she was wearing black, also black, a Latina. Her name was Maria Vaquero. I still remember her name. She came to talk to the students about a possibility of living abroad, and she mentioned exchange program and foreign and all these amazing words that to me seemed so foreign. But she basically said, whoever wants to go on an exchange program, semester, a summer or year program, I can help you. Because you're inner city students, we can give you financial aid. So I was like, wow, this just seems so amazing, but like, is it really real? I took an application, and I don't know how many students were there, but basically I was the only one that applied. And I got to go and live in Mexico for a year. So I lived in Puebla, and I went to high school there. And I had a mom and I have a mom and and a dad and 2 sisters. So mi mamá Laura, mi papá Mario, mi hermana Mariana y Lauris or Laura. And I have 2 nieces now. It's been over 20 years. We're still in contact. We talk every other month. We check in on social media. My host parents actually baptized my son, so I built this really close connection. They either come visit or we go and we visit them in Puebla. And I always say that I am a Poblana at heart. My family from Jalisco is like, eres de Jalisco, eres tapatía, mira esos ojos. But in reality, my heart is in Puebla only because that experience really shaped how I saw the world socially, and how where my heart, or I think, was nurtured to fight fight against injustice, especially in my comunidad, against my people. So living in Mexico really changed my life. I came back to Los Angeles after a year program, living in a beautiful state, eating delicious food, speaking different Spanish, with an accent, a little fresa sometimes, as or contadito, right? Um, and yeah, that was a transition of itself, because then I had to come back, and the connections I had with friends kind of, drifted to different places, because I also my focus was the world. Like, now I want to travel, and I got to go to Europe, and I got to go to Cuba, and I got to go to Latin America, and that just like opened up all this need to travel, right? And meet amazing people through that journey. So when I was 25, I decided to do, or I was invited through the same program that I went to Mexico with, which is called American Field Services, which is still around. And if anybody out there has high school students and is interested in giving them an experience, I highly recommend it, especially American Field Services, that has been around for so many years. They also have an 18 plus program, which basically allows you to do volunteer work overseas. And so the lady who ran the chapter here called me, and she's like, if you want to go anywhere, do it now. There's financial aid, and there's all this, amazing opportunity and help that you can take advantage of if you decide to go. So I looked up the countries, and I knew where Ghana was in the map, and I knew they spoke English, but I didn't know much more about the country itself. So I knew I didn't want to go to Latin America because I already spoke Spanish. Europe, I was like, I want to do something more impactful. Wherever my time is gonna be spent, I want it to be meaningful. So I decided Africa. So in Africa, I could have gone to Egypt, Ghana, or South Africa. And so I had, like, this torn relationship between like South Africa and the whole apartheid history, and
yeah.
um, and Egypt. That was a really nice opportunity too. I definitely considered Egypt, but I decided on Ghana because no sabía nada, más que dónde estaba en el mapa y que hablaban inglés. So I applied. I lived in Ghana for 6 months. And that definitely shaped and changed my life as well. AFS has been a big part of all these amazing things in my life. It is where I met my husband. We've been married for 15 years. This year is going to be our 15th year anniversary. And yeah, so that's where my journey has taken me to where we're at now, Afroanansi and Afrobeads, because you're probably wondering, like, how is this Latina from South Central so in touch with, the African culture? Um, while I lived in Ghana, so a little part of like the romance between my husband and I, my husband was a volunteer.
Oh, tell us all the juicy details.
All the juicy.
Let's keep it really juicy.
So my husband was a volunteer for that program that I went on. So his role was to kind of introduce us to the culture and take us around for a few days to the city or the capital. And then we were going to be heading to the country, to the states or the cities or towns that we would be living in, because this program allows you to live with families. So you live in a house with mom and dad or brothers and sisters. So he was part of the welcoming committee, and I got there, and the second day, he claims we met the first day, but I don't remember. We were tired, jet lag. We met so many people, I don't remember. But he's like, I remember you, from the first day, but I recall meeting him the second day. And he spoke to me in Spanish and was like, hola, ¿cómo estás? And I was like, oh, wait, what? I had already started missing Spanish and my people. And it feels so good to hear someone speak to you in your native language, And that was our first connection. We started dating a few months after, and there was a lot of romance that happened in between, like stories about him calling my house where I was living, and I didn't give him his number because I didn't even have the number or knew where I was going to be living, but he got it from the program anyway. He called, and my host father in Ghana was an ex-lieutenant. So he's very strict and very stoic. And so he calls and he's like, may I speak to Anna? And my father was like, who are you? What do you want? Like, it was really funny because he took the fatherly role, and we spoke, and he's like, I'll be there in 2 weeks. And when a guy tells you I'll be there in 2 weeks, it's like, okay. Voy a llegar mañana, pero nunca llega, no? So I really didn't even connect it. I was like, okay, maybe he'll come, maybe he won't. On the second week, I was coming home from my work, and I'll talk to you guys a little bit about my work. And as I got lost, and as I was trying to find my way in the town, I took a side street, and he was coming this way, así, al contrario, right? I was going this way, he was coming this way, and we met halfway. It's like he was on the other side of the street, and we just locked eyes, and I was like, wait, Charles, what are you doing here? And he was like, I told you I was coming to look for you, but I was at the wrong library. And anyway, so that was the beginning of now 15 years.
Wow.
He had a very beautiful painting, which sits right there with the tree, which we still have.
Yeah, we see it.
Right there.
Yeah, we see it.
Yeah, he carried that around, and he had that with him when we reconnected. And yeah, so that was how we met. And I came back after the 6 months, and then 9 months later, I went back. We got married. I went by myself. My family could not travel with me at the moment. And so, yeah, his dad and himself, they planned the wedding, and I was like a groom. She just got there, and a week later, we got married. A week after, I came back, and then it took several months for him to eventually immigrate to the country. But while I lived in Ghana, I did work with an NGO. So they connect you with a NGO, and then you kind of create what your project is going to be. And basically, my project was with women and children. So I was posted at a library, and from the library I had to create my project. And my project was to start an after school program for kids, because most kids, especially in the town that I lived in, don't really have extracurricular activities whatsoever. They either are fetching water for their home, washing, taking care of their brothers and sisters, or selling things on the street. And so I noticed that there wasn't like sports or arts and crafts. And so I started a project where for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, there was some classes being held. And Yeah, that was amazing. It was hard and very difficult to get people to volunteer their work.
Yeah.
Because they expect to be paid, and I was a volunteer. I wasn't making any money, so I depended a lot on my friends back here to help support that project, and it was very successful. The second part of that project was to start an after school program of reading to the smaller kids, because we had access to books, but the kids, although English is the primary language in Ghana, a lot of the kids speak more of their dialect, whatever it is, Fanti, with Twi, whatever they speak at home. So it was difficult to get the kids to kind of read the book. So I kind of got a high school to volunteer, their high school students to volunteer their hours and read to the kids an hour a day after school. So those were a few of the several projects that I worked on while living in Ghana, but I also got to travel a lot.
Wow, that's amazing.
That was beautiful. Traveling through Ghana felt very much like home to me. And by home, I mean Mexico. The food, even the way they speak to their elderly, there's specific words you use before you start a conversation with an elderly. And we have something similar like that in Spanish. And the food, very spicy food. They have okra, which reminds me of nopales, so I was all about the okra, although everybody else who was on that program was like, oh, it's so slimy and disgusting. And I was like, oh, this is nopales. Give me a bowl of okra with fish. Yeah, the food was very, very similar to the Latino or to the Mexican food. And by all means, and I say this with all respect, I feel that Ghana is like, oh man, like the people are just so friendly and welcoming. It's not difficult to fall in love with the country and its people. So yeah, that is how I ended up in Ghana.
That's such an amazing story. I think just and everything that you went through, right? The whole journey really has shaped you and who you are and your outlook on life and how you raise your son and how you manage your business. Yeah, I really believe that it's a very personal journey, but this is why we have so much beauty to add to the world, right? Because our experiences are so different and there's a lot of similarities, obviously, and that's what kind of joins us together too. But what an amazing experience you had growing up, kind of, getting to know, meeting your husband, I'll say, and your journey there in Ghana. And so, how does that all kind of tie into the businesses that you have now? Like, what are your businesses about? What is it that do you sell a product? What is it, and how does it tie back to that? Because I think there's a connection.
Right. Yeah, there definitely is a connection. And you're very right when you say like things shape you to specific journeys. And I always say that I have always been very blessed. De alguna forma u otra, I've always have like someone mentoring me, someone giving me a piece of information so that I can access a resource, and that resource opens up this door, and it definitely has shaped where we're at now. So I'll talk about Afroanansi just because
Mhm.
Afroanansi is kind of like the head, and then under the umbrella, or the umbrella and under the umbrella, is Afrobeats Waistbeads. Although Afrobeats Waistbeads has been active longer, it's been around for much longer, but Afroanansi has definitely helped us open the doors that we wanted
Yeah.
um, to access what our vision and our mission is. So Anansi, to start with, is a spider. So maybe a lot of people don't know about Anansi the spider, but Anansi the spider is a character that comes from the Akan tribe, which is which is, I think, the biggest tribe in Ghana. And it takes form of a spider, but sometimes a human, or a human spider, kind of a little weird, but it's attracting to the kids, or the children, because these are folktale stories told through Anansi to children throughout Africa, the Caribbean, and beyond. Um, Anansi is a trickster, but he's very wise, and he connects empathy, political issues, inequalities, life lessons through his stories. And he's always trying to figure out ways to get away with things, and then like very fast they bring him back. And Anansi is my son's favorite character. I can't tell you how many times we have read Anansi books. And for those who want to access Anansi, you can very easily YouTube Anansi audiobooks. They even tell them like in storytelling ways. So they're videos or the storytelling of a book. You can also purchase on Amazon. There's a lot of different stories on Anansi because he's been around for years. um, and Anansi to us represents what our vision is, right? What does a spider do? It webs. And our vision, which is my husband's brainchild, this was something that he spoke about for many years after immigrating to Los Angeles. Because first, when he first immigrated, we lived in Boyle Heights, and he was a crossing guard, and that's where he learned Spanish because he crossed kids and the parents spoke to him in Spanish and the children as well. And besides me and my mom and my family, he picked up Spanish. So he's fluent in Spanish at this point. But Anansi, he webs, right? And our vision is to create a bridge between Africa and in our situation, specifically Ghana, because that's, the background, to our communities. Our goal definitely is to start with children, right? And create these opportunities for children to learn about um, the culture of Ghana or the culture of Africa through storytelling. So we introduce and we've done a few of these, and we hope to do more this year as school allows, but we do read aloud. So my son and I, or my husband and my son, or all three of us will do storytelling for a class of a kindergarten class, first grade or second grade. So we'll Zoom, we'll read a book and kind of talk about the book and what the story was about and the connection. And that has been very empowering to us. It fills us with love because not only are we doing it as parents, trying to plant these seeds in our child, but also other children in our communities. And my son is involved and he loves it, and he loves sharing what his favorite spider is and what his favorite part of the story is. So I welcome any teachers who are listening who want to reach out to us and want this to be part of an experience for their class. Please send us a email or a DM, and we'll try to plan that. Our hope is definitely to leave the classes that we present at with books on Anansi, so they can continue the journey and the love of a contrived character. And we're seeing how we're going to be able to do that financially, because it's really expensive at the moment. But either that or creating our own illustration of an Anansi story. We're also thinking about that. So that's where the name Anansi comes from. I welcome and I encourage all of you to please look up Anansi. Amazing stories, very funny. The kids will have a good time. So our products, al fin, right? Afroanansi basically sells accessories. So another part of what we're hoping to do is to connect with people in our community in general, not just the child or children, but young adults or just anybody who is interested in learning about African culture, Ghana, through print. Basically, that's what it is. So we either import or we hand make accessories that are made with African prints, and we sell those. So Anansi actually took off right after the pandemic, because for years my husband and I had, when we go back home to Ghana and we come back, we always bring fabric because we're always thinking of like, okay, we're gonna do this or we're gonna do that, or for a long time I wanted to do a kids line because I was like, oh, this is so beautiful, and but never really got around it. Uno, porque no sé coser. Y dos, like like I need time too. But our business actually took off about a year ago. After the pandemic and living in South Central, we started to notice that our community didn't have access to face masks, right? And that's what you heard in the news 24/7. Wear a face mask, wear a face mask. And I would see our neighbor elotero walking by with no face mask, or a taquero with no face mask, or at the grocery stores, like people didn't have access to them. So my husband and I were talking, and we're like, we have all this. Oh, and the fashion district, which is where you purchase fabric mostly, was completely shut down, right?
Right.
So it wasn't like people couldn't make them, like that you really didn't even have the elastic, or like where would you, like all the stuff that you needed to make them wasn't accessible to you. So my husband and I were talking, and we said, well, we have all this material. Why don't we put it to use and start making these face masks? And we did. We started to make face masks and started giving them out in our community. And by we, I mean my mom, my sister, my husband, and I. My husband would cut them. My mom would sew them with a machine that somebody had given me so many years ago from the 50s that was collecting dust. We cleaned it up and we put it to use. And my sister and I started promoting our face masks and started giving them out in the community, to the elderly, to children, to people, street vending. And then eventually they became so accessible that we started selling them. So now we're very grateful. We are in 5 different coffee shops throughout Los Angeles and one in Sacramento. You can find us at South LA Cafe, which is how we got connected, right?
Yes,
I remember. And we're in Patria Cafe, which coffee, I'm sorry, Patria Coffee, which is in Compton. We are in Cafe Ruse, which is in Santa Monica. They also have a Los Angeles location. And it was really nice because that's one of the latest ones that we connected with. And it turned out that that family is from Ghana as well. So it made it extra special.
wow.
Yeah. And we didn't know before meeting them. And as we were talking about the fabric and stuff, the owner was like, oh, I'm from Ghana. And that just made it, super sweet and special to us. We're at a cafe in Sacramento as well, and one in Lamar Park called Shift Cafe. So I welcome everybody to look them up. They are on our Instagram, or you can definitely Google them. So they sell our face mask. And actually, I will say that South LA Cafe definitely was instrumental in helping us open doors and opportunities and mentoring. I mean, Celia has been amazing to us as a business and as a friend. She's answered so many of my doubts or gives me advice and things that I had no clue about. She'll spotlight and help us kind of navigate that. So shout out to Celia and Joe at South LA Cafe and all the cafes that have taken an opportunity, have taken a liking on our face mask and sell them, in their shops. So let me show you what they look like, because I actually have them here.
Yeah, show us. Oh, so beautiful. I was hoping. Oh, I didn't ask you beforehand. I'm like, oh, I should have told her, but you did. I'm so glad.
So this is from our newest line. There's 4, but I didn't get the other one out. But basically, this is a traditional kente, which is very common from Ghana, and comes from Ghana, and also from at least this type of kente from the Akan tribe. And then we have these fabrics that are called Ankara, and they're different colors, very easy to wear. I have lipstick that doesn't come off, so I can put it on and test it so you can see what it looks like. I'm noticing how to put it on because my mom always says, no se te olvide ponértela bien, right? It's como
Yeah,
abanico, it has to go down.
has a chin, and yeah,
Yes.
very nice.
They look like very soft, and they're double layered and have an extra insert for you to add a filter if you wanted to. The elastic is really light and very comfortable, and it's double lined, so it's 100% cotton. So this is kind of like a little bit of what we sell, but we also sell fanny packs, backpacks, earrings, clutches, wallets, sweaters, and shout out to my mom, who has been instrumental in getting us to where we're at, because she actually makes all of our face masks. She sews them on her free time, and she works full time. So gracias,
You
mami.
sell them in sets, right? Like I've seen like the hair bands with the matching mask, with the matching wallet, maybe, or clutch. Like it's just, you've kind of made it this whole,
Yeah, so
something
what's
image.
really beautiful is that our tribe will send us a message, and they'll say, like, do you guys sell headbands? And then I'm like, Charles, what do you think about headbands? And he's like, oh yeah, we should do that. And then I Google them and I send it to my mom. I'm like, Mom, ¿qué te parece? And she's like, okay, and she goes for it, and she'll like give us a mock-up, and we're always amazed because my
Yeah.
mom has like this ability of like to create things that I'm not very like crafty like that. So my mom is definitely the one who creates the model, or what is it called,
The prototype?
el patrón.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So el patron, and not the drinking patron, the patron for the product. So she makes the headbands, and we actually also have surgical caps for
Oh, okay.
who work in the health industry,
Yeah.
and amazing, beautiful sweaters with prints. And yeah, that's been Afroanansi has really taken off. People have really taken an interest in the stuff we're making, but also the prints, the vibrancy of them, the history behind them. We try to give them names, like each of our masks have names, and we try to give them names that have meaning, and we
Mm.
look it up, and we try to be very meaningful when it comes to that. My husband is the one who kind of creates that. And then under Afroanansi is Afrobeads Waistbeads. I also got a few out so you can see what I mean. For those who speak Spanish, it's Shakira. Las piedritas son Shakira, they're glass stones. And you're
Y
like,
no
what?
la cantante, ¿eh? No la
Right.
cantante.
La cantante. And they're like for decoration. These actually go around your waist. They're waist beads.
Mhm.
So this is how I learned about waist beads. When I was working in Ghana and doing volunteer work, I worked with children. And one day there was a group of kids playing, and this little girl who was about 7 or 8, she was playing and her shirt came up a little bit. And then I saw something sparkled, right? And I said, Loretta, what is that? Let me see you. What is that? Because it was so intriguing, right?
Yeah.
She put her shirt down and she wouldn't let me see it. And
Yeah.
I thought, wow, whatever that was, it just, it was so shiny.
Yeah.
I went home and I was talking to my family and my sister, Linda. And I said, Linda, I was working with this little girl and her shirt came up and I saw something sparkled and she wouldn't let me see it. And she's like, oh, they're waist beads. We all wear them. And she picked up her shirt and she had like 4 or 5, because you tie them individually. And I was like, wait, I've been here like 2 months. No one's mentioned waist beads. What are? And she shared a story that I usually share with women that I'm working with the waist beads that I tie them on. And she shared that the waist bead starts as a bonding between a mother and a daughter.
Mm.
Even before you're born, your mother has already chosen beads for you, right? Or has beads for you. They supposedly, as a baby, help shape your body, but they also help with posture long term because they rub up and down your spine.
Mm.
When you're about Loretta's age, which was, a young little girl, it also serves as a way to promote self-love, but also protection. Because as I mentioned, Loretta wouldn't let me see her beads. And the reason is because it's a bonding between a mother and a daughter. So only your mother knows the color of your beads. Or, um, family is very close, like grandma or aunt, people who live in the house. But outsiders don't know the color of your beads because you wear them under your underwear.
Yeah.
And so if somebody has seen your beads, there's question on why they've seen your beads, so it's a way to protect the little girl. Eventually becomes the rites of passage where then your mom will, allow you to choose your own beads based on what calls to you. I know here some people sell them based on chakra, like this color means that and this color means that, or brings that type of energy. We're not very educated on chakra, so we sell them traditional, based on what you would go to a market and you would choose based on the color that attracts to you.
Yeah.
Um, as a woman or young woman or a woman, you wear them for healing purposes, for sensuality, for accessories. A lot of our clients, though, buy them for weight management.
Mm.
And so what that means is because they tie on, so you tie them around your waist and they don't, you knot it at the end, depending on your size,
Yeah.
make a knot and they stay on. So they're cotton, you make a few knots, no se caen, right? They don't come down, they don't come out. You can shower with them, you can bath, you can sweat, just when you're showering, you just scrub around and tap them with the towel and dry them up. Um, but, if you eat too much, they get tight and they're uncomfortable, right? You're like, oh, me pasé con los tacos,
Para el pastel. Yeah.
No me pasé. So it's kind of a way to hold you accountable, right? But on the other side of the coin, it helps as a reinforcement because if you are on a journey of losing weight and you lose the weight and you start seeing them fall or get loose, it
Mm.
reinforces for you to continue that journey that you're on. So a lot of our clients, instead of stepping on weight scales, they turn to waist beads because not only do they make you feel beautiful, empowered, but they also serve as a different tool that's not so stressful sometimes, or kind of like more reinforcement, to wear them. So
Wow.
those are our waist beads. We have two different Instagrams, right? So we have Afroanansi, and then we have Afrobeads. And this journey, actually, I started with my sister and my husband, um, many years ago. I brought them back as a gift the first time I came back from Ghana, and a lot of my friends were like, "Oh, this is beautiful. This is amazing." Then eventually I went back with my sister to travel in Ghana, and we're like, "Oh, maybe we should bring some back." And we started an Instagram, and this was many years ago, and we sold them on Instagram, and we still sell them on Instagram. We don't have a website. We either meet people in person or we sell on Instagram. Now my sister has ventured into her own, so she has her own Instagram for the waist beads, as well as shout out to my mom, because my sister has the same version of our masks, but with Latino or Mexican prints. Her Instagram handle is Mexi Poder, so please look her up, follow her. She's also on our page, but she has her own face masks, and they're very beautiful and funny. She has a Bernie Sanders one that I just can't get enough of, and
Con los
boss woman.
cables,
Yeah. Sí,
con
todas así
los
como-
cables. Anna, that is just such a beautiful story. I feel like really, businesses, being a business owner, like you kind of started off with, it could be a lonely road, and it's not easy, right? And I think the fact that you're so passionate about your journey and how that translates into your business, and it's more than just the product that you're selling. It's more than just, I shouldn't say just, it's also about building wealth for your family. Obviously, it's about doing something you enjoy, but your business has a lot of purpose and mission behind it, and the passion. And I feel like that's really where you can connect, where you do connect with your clients, with your customers, with the friends now that you've made. A lot of your clients and customers are your friends now. And really that connection that you make with them is super important. And it's not something every business owner does. And I think that I challenge those that are listening as business owners to kind of take a step back and really think about what your mission and your why is of your business, because it really is so critical, and it shines through, right? Like it shines through when you're even just talking about it. So thank you for sharing that. I wanted to, you mentioned a lot around, like your mom. We love your mom. I feel like I know your mom now. I love your mom. I want to invite her over for a cafecito, or so I can get to know her a little more. But like, heroes in your life like your mom, and all these wonderful partners that you've had with South LA Cafe and Patria Cafe Coffee and some of these others. I know that you've probably faced challenges or hiccups along the road. And how have you, what are some of those challenges, and what kind of advice maybe do you also have for Latino entrepreneurs that are kind of on the rise and facing some of these challenges, and maybe how they can turn to community like you do for support?
Right. So I think a lot of the struggle, at least for me personally, because my husband has a different experience, a different view. He's more of like, let's go for it, don't worry about it. And I'm more like, you have to do this. I'm the organizer, where he's more of like the vision, like big, and I have to be like, oh, but we have to follow these steps. But my challenge personally has been a few things. To feel comfortable talking about an experience that I had and that I connected with. Because I'm not African American, I'm not Ghanaian, I'm not Black, but I recognize and I love what our products represent and what we're trying to do, not just to our child.
I had lost you for a second. All right, you're back on. You're back on.
No worries, no worries. So where did I leave off?
When you were just you were talking about, so like one of the challenges that you faced. It was probably like at least a few seconds that I lost you.
Okay. So I'll start again. So I think for me, one of personally the challenges that I face as a Latina is selling African products. Like, y esta quién es, right? Who is this person? Where's her connection? Um, I try to stay as genuine as possible, because I very hardly feel that, for example, I can't tell you how many women we've met through Afrobeats,
Mhm.
and what that healing process has been, or how beautiful they feel. And when they leave with the biggest smile, where they send us a picture and they're like, now I want to do this with my child. Now I want to do this with my daughter or my niece or my granddaughter. And to me is I feel like I'm helping. I'm like the middle person between this beautiful culture and our comunidad, right?
Mhm.
Because we've beaded women from all backgrounds, African American, Latina, Asian, Caucasian, and we embrace it. So what I do, my part is to tell them the story. This is where Afrobeats comes from. It's 100% imported from Ghana. Um, and this is why the women in Ghana wear it, or at least the story that I heard.
Mhm.
And so when they leave with our waist beads, they understand it, they connect with it, they love it. So I think one of the challenges is that how to be true to myself, and validate myself and say, yes, you can do this. And yes, you can love a completely different culture and still
Mhm.
try to be a way to connect and share love. Another challenge I feel that I've had is these generational poderes, right? I would have never thought that I could have a business because my fears, even like when my husband and I were deciding if we were going to go legal or not, and we're just going to continue on Instagram,
Yeah.
was I don't want to pay taxes. And what is that going to look like? All these fears que te
Yeah.
plantan me, right? One thing I didn't mention is, my dad was part of my life as a kid, and my dad had a catering truck business. So in the summers, I was forced to work in these catering trucks with my dad, and be in the heat and cook and watch him. So my dad didn't go to elementary school. I'm thinking he has like a kindergarten or first grade education, but my dad could do math like this.
Mhm.
And I remember as a kid, as a young adult, sitting there and just like this, like, oh my God, like I would be so entertained with people grabbing a soda, chips, their food. And they would walk up to my dad, and my dad would be like, 10.40. To this day, I don't know if he was just making up the numbers or he's really tough. But my dad is super funny, very an amazing man. I love him a lot. But he kind of like was the first person that I met who kind of had kind of a business.
Yeah.
And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, mi papa, he planted that seed early enough. But I still have had these challenges of like, am I making the right decision? How to price this, how to do this. As I mentioned before, I feel very blessed because I've always have found mentors or madrinas or fairy godmothers who have in some way or another connected me to overcoming any challenge I've had. And you definitely have been one. I mean, meeting you through the USC Bridges program um, to business program has been very impactful. Now we're taking classes and we're learning specifically, areas in your business that you should consider, you should learn about so that you can become more successful, so that you become, you know, so that your vision is taken to broader places, but also to believe in yourself. I mean, there was a component in the beginning of the program where it had to do with mental health, and I was like, wait, what does that have to do with a business? All of it, like you have to be healthy, you have to be confident, um, and understand that there's people, that are facing similar insecurities as you. Another program that has helped me is the Watts Rising. I shout out to Ivory and Amanda, because they helped us become legit. So they helped us with the application process and like getting our license permit and helping us navigate that. I mean, you connected me with someone, that I could talk to about opening a business account in a bank that I was like, wait, we're making, this money, but where do we put it in our personal? What do we do? And so that's how I'm overcoming one step at a time and understanding that I'm not alone. I had a really amazing conversation with a mentor through the USC Bridges program, who kind of reminded me that I'm not going to know all the answers.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous and crazy for me to think that I will know how things are going to turn out all the time.
Yeah.
I can plan as best as I can, but I have to also be ready mentally for it to change and to learn from an experience that might not be the best for me at the moment, but that there's always something to take away with. So um, I definitely feel like I always say this to even clients through social work is that someone will give you a lead,
Mm.
you take that lead, and then if they give you 2 leads, call those 2 leads, and if they give you 3 or 4, call those 3, 4 leads. Eventually, something will come and a door will open. You know, you have to, you know, something about Latinas and just women in general. We're resilient, right? We don't give up, luchadoras to die hard. And I think that's my takeaway is like whatever little information I get, like if somebody mentions something, I'll make note. And then at night when my son is sleeping, I'll start Googling like, oh, this is what it is. That's when I'm applying for things. That's when I'm, trying to do other things and open other doors. So
That's
yeah,
amazing. That's amazing. That's really great. And you hit on some really key important things. And I'm hoping that those that are listening that are either thinking about starting a business or maybe they're in beginning stages or even if they're far along, that they really take that to heart and that they look and they seek out for those opportunities. Because again, like you said, it's bringing the opportunities are there. You access them, but then what you do with them really does matter, right? You have to kind of make that actionable for you and where you're at in your business, and it's going to look different for everybody, I think. But this is really good advice. So as we're coming to a close, it's been such an amazing conversation with you, Ana Laura, and thank you again for opening up. Is there anything else you kind of want to leave the audience that are listening with? Any like final thoughts or insights or words of inspiration?
yeah, no, I again want to thank you, Rocio. This charla has been amazing. So comfortable, feeling in a space that's so welcoming and you do that, you have this ability to connect, with people and I appreciate that. And I'm sure the listeners and people who follow you do as well. Uh, I think that I would like to leave people with, you know, there's a tribe. Everybody has a tribe. Everybody has a village that they have around them that they might not recognize. That could be either friends or family members. Not everybody in my family understands my business. Maybe after listening to this interview, they'll get to know me a little bit better, or understand where Charles and I and my mom and my sister come from, and that every repost, every tag, it doesn't go unnoticed to us, from friends, from people we don't know. But it's been very interesting to see that how much people that you don't know believe in your business.
Hmm.
How beautiful that is that people from another city will repost us and talk to their friends about their waist beads or their face mask or their sweaters or their fanny packs and connecting, with us. And so what I say is hold on tight to your village. I am one, and I think I learned this. Not, I don't think I definitely learned this from my mom. I mentioned my mom worked in sweatshops. She was a supervisor for many years. And one thing I always think about was during Christmas, Mother's Day, or her birthday, she would come home with these bags of gifts.
Hmm.
And I actually look forward to them because sometimes I would be able to keep a perfume or something.
Yeah.
Um, but I remember one day asking my mom, like, what, like, ¿por qué te dan tanto, right? Porque eran bolsas las con las que llegaba, right? And I would say, ¿por qué te quieren tanto? And she said to me, porque los trato como seres humanos,
Hmm.
porque los aprecio.
Yeah.
And that always sticks, that drives me,
Yeah.
honestly, is to treat everybody the same,
Hmm.
to understand that everybody's on a different journey, right? And it's okay to connect and to showcase appreciation when it's due. And I definitely take, and my husband as well, we take a lot of pride in what in the final stage of our business with someone. We touch base with the person, we connect. If there's a client who's like, I want waist beads, but I don't, what are they for? I will stay up and write paragraphs of like, this is what you're wearing them for, even though I have carpal tunnel, and I think it's that is being true to yourself and loving what you do and honoring it and being genuine. right? You have to be vulnerable and genuine. People see through that, people connect to that, people gravitate towards that. And if you believe it, they believe it as well. And I'm just happy to be part of this journey. You know, there's so many parts of my life that are different from Afroanansi and Afrobeads. But everything that I work on, I give 100%, you know, and I'm excited. I'm excited for where this is going to take us. And I'm excited um, on what we're teaching our child. You know, Sebastian is only 5 years old and is being, you know, around all this momentum, being our little model. Like I ran into a friend the other day at a park and she's like, Sebastian, I see you, you know, on Instagram. You know, you're part of the business. He said, I'm the model, you know. So if you go on our Instagram, Afro Anansi, you'll definitely see our son Sebastian and my husband and myself modeling some of our products. So thank you, Rocio.
Anna, this has been such wise words, so powerful. You definitely inspire me. I'm so looking forward to just continue to be able to observe and witness your journey as you grow. You know, I'm the very emotional type, so I can feel myself getting emotional even just saying it, but I believe in you. I believe in everything you stand for, and I'm just so super, super proud of you. And so I want to encourage everyone to please follow Ana Laura and her businesses. I'm pointing down because we're going to have the IG handles on the bottom of this once we publish it on the website. But make sure you support her. You support all the businesses that are helping lift her up. And you know we have to do this as a community. So thank you again, Anna, for everything, and for all of you for watching, for connecting and joining us. I appreciate all of you too. Please, I encourage you to follow Bella on Instagram as well. And with that, we'll close this out. Until next time, familia.
Gracias.
Thank you so much. Suerte y adelante.
Y adelante, sí se puede.